host with Dr. Wendy Dearborn, the author of Green is for Life, a simple guide to creating healthy, life-giving green smoothies. Well, today we're here and we are talking about life after green smoothies. This is really yummy. We're talking about life after green smoothies. So that being said, today we are going to be making an almond, orange, coconut cake. And it is yummy. It's delicious. I'm not quite sure about the nutritious stuff, but it is gluten-free. It is, it's gluten-free and dairy-free for all intents and purposes, although it does have eggs in it. And of course, for those who do not use eggs, you can definitely substitute with flax seed. So anyway, let's get to it. I'm going to show you everything that we need, and then we're going to put the cake together. It is a bit of a process. It's not one of the easier recipes that I have done. It is a process, but it is decadent, and oh, is it worth it? For the cake, the actual cake itself, first and foremost, you are going to need two oranges. And these are two kind of medium-sized oranges, or you can use two smaller oranges. But you know, sometimes you can get those big, boofter navel oranges. You only need one of those. So we have two oranges, and what we do is we wash them. These are washed and scrubbed, and then we place them into a pot with water, and then we will actually bring them to a boil and simmer them for about 1.5 to 2 hours. We need 5 eggs, 1¼ cups of evaporated cane sugar, or you can use brown sugar, or you can use white sugar, but 1¼ cups of evaporated cane sugar. We're gonna need ½ cup of ½ cup of sweet rice flour, and we're going to need 1¼ cups of finely ground almond meal. We're going to need quarter of a cup of finely shredded coconut, unsweetened coconut. We're going to need a teaspoon of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I actually mix those together. We are also going to need 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 1 teaspoon of almond extract, and that's what's in there. Also, we are going to be making a chocolate ganache to go on that, and so later we're going to need a cup of chocolate chips, or a cup of baker's chocolate, preferably without milk, as this really is at least a milk-free product. And we are going to, and that's a cup, and we're going to need half a cup of coconut milk. And if you have it, use the organic coconut milk. Also, this does come with a glaze. Like I said, this is kind of decadent. It comes with a glaze, so you are going to need the zest of an orange, and you are going to need the juice of an orange. You're also going to need to bake this in a springform pan, and this is a 9-inch springform pan, and you need to cut out a piece of parchment paper. You cut out your parchment paper so that you can actually line it. What we're going to start out by doing is beating the eggs and the sugar in a blender, in a mixer, until they are light and fluffy. Continue beating the eggs until they're fluffy, and you will see what I mean when they are done. Now that we've got the eggs beating and they're getting fluffy, as you could see, we're gonna mix the rest of our dry ingredients together. That's the almond flour, that's the coconut, that's our salt and baking powder, and of course our rice flour. So we mix all these ingredients together, and we're going to use the whisk sift method. Okay, and what that is that you use a whisk to make sure all the ingredients are incorporated. Yay! Because needless to say, if you were to put this through a sieve, your coconut and that would definitely get left behind, and you do want it well incorporated. So make sure you get out as many lumps as possible. Oops, I'm making a mess. Rose, I'm making a mess, and I don't have my cloth, Rose. I don't have my cloth. Make sure you get all the lumps out, and that looks fairly good to me. All right. So once that's done, we can put that aside. Next step is to then puree the oranges. While the eggs are doing their thing, just finishing up doing their thing, we're going to puree the oranges. Now the oranges, they're tender. I cooked some before, they're tender. They didn't fall apart, and I actually put them into my Vitamix. Now because they are so soft, you can actually push them. If you don't have a Vitamix, or you don't have a food processor, or you don't have a blender, you can actually, they're so soft, you can actually just push it through a sieve. So these are already done. They've been pureed for all intents and purposes in my Vitamix, and I'm now going to add the oranges to the egg and sugar. Done. See, they're all nice, creamy. They're all nice, creamy and fluffy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add our pureed orange. And again, if you like your orange to be a little bit more chunky, you can definitely have it like that. So I'm going to add the orange, our pureed orange, to our egg mixture, to our batter. Yay, orange. Woohoo! Well, I don't know, maybe the orange isn't happy to be pureed and all of that, but right, we're going to add the orange, and we're going to give this a quick mix. It really smells very, very good. Make sure you scrape the sides down at some point to make sure everything is incorporated the way that you want it. Right. We are going to add our vanilla, our extracts, and give that a quick mix. Give it a quick mix. And then finally, we are going to add our flour blend. And I'm just going to put it all in. Making sure that everything is mixed in particular the bottom, and then all we're going to do is just pour our batter. We're going to pour our batter, and this smells really, really good. Okay, we're going to tap it a few times. That helps with the air bubbles. I put it on a baking tray, and I put it into an oven. I put it into a preheated oven at 350 for 55 to 60 minutes. So that's for just under an hour. Be sure to check it at 55 depending upon your oven, but it goes into the oven for 55 to 60 minutes. Once it's done, we then take the cake out and we allow it to cool. Now, one of the things that you can do for yourself to sometimes help your cake from not sinking or having that concave look, to cover your cake with a couple of tea towels or dish towels. So as it cools, this is when you take it out of the oven, as it cools, it doesn't cool rapidly, and it helps it to cool evenly. And this can really actually prevent your cake from sinking. But don't be surprised with this cake if it does sink a little bit in the middle. That's okay. It just is what it is. Now, in the interim, what we are going to do is prep everything that we need for the glaze, and then prep what we need for the ganache. Because as I said, this cake's really decadent. Oh God, it's so yummy. It's like, oh my God. Give me a fix. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get that prepped. We actually have the juice of an orange and the sugar, and I'm just going to finish this up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to dissolve the sugar in the orange juice to make a glaze, the zest, the orange zest, and then we're gonna heat him up, and we're gonna cook him till he dissolves. We're gonna cook this till it dissolves and reduces slightly. And once that's done, we will be right back, and we'll actually make the ganache to boil. It's a nice boil, and it will be doing its thing as it reduces. Make sure you stir it. What you don't want to happen is for it to turn into some sort of candy, which it will if too much of the orange juice boils out. Is done. See? That's a nice syrup. That'll give us a very, very nice glaze. It has been resting for 20 minutes. Yummy, 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 yummy. And so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stick it all over so that when I pour the glaze on, it will, penetrate. Once it's glazed and everything, I'm going to then take it off the base. See, this is really nice because he didn't even sink. And then we're going to allow this to cool. The cake really has to cool down, and we're going to allow that to cool. There you go. We're going to allow that to cool and to sink in and do what it does best. And then after that, we are going to apply the chocolate ganache. We're going to make the ganache. And in my pot, I have 1/3 cup of full fat coconut milk, plus 2 tablespoons of coconut milk, and 1/4 tablespoon of coconut oil. Now I put the coconut oil in so that we would get the nice, creamy, rich, dreamy results that we wanted, or we want when we're making a ganache, so it's shiny and it's smooth. And so what you do, you heat the milk up almost to boiling, which I just almost nearly overboiled that, almost to boiling. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the chocolate, that's a cup of chocolate, in, and I'm just going to let it sit. We're going to let it sit. We're going to let it sit for maybe about 10 minutes. And once it's sat for 10 minutes and it's done its thing, we're going to mix it up, and you're going to see it's going to become shiny, it's going to become smooth, and then we'll actually be able to use it to put onto our cake. Have the ganache. And as you can see, the chocolate has melted, and we're just going to mix it, and we're going to watch it get all nice and smooth and creamy and dreamy. And actually the cake has to be totally cool for us to apply the ganache. See how it's starting to get shiny? Can you see that, guys? It's starting to get shiny. The cake has to be cool to apply it. So I've made this, and I've made this in advance, and what I'll do is I'll just give it a quick blitz in the microwave, just give it a quick heat in the microwave when I'm ready to use it. I can actually leave it out on the counter and it shouldn't really harden too much. But either way, see how nice and shiny it is? And I'm going to transfer this to a bowl. Okay, be sure to cover your ganache with cling film or with parchment paper, you know, because you don't want it to form any kind of skin or anything on top. Okay, because that will give you like lumpy bits when you go to put it. Okay guys, we're back and the cake is actually finally cool enough for us to go ahead on and put the chocolate ganache on it. And once we've done that, we'll then actually put the cake into the fridge so that chocolate ganache can set up. I tell you what, this cake is absolutely divine. And as I said to you, if you've ever had a Jaffa cake, which I don't know what they call them here, but it's like a sponge with orange, like this orange kind of jelly thing, then covered in chocolate. This is like that. Jaffa cake on steroids. So anyway, here's the ganache, and I'm just actually going to put that on top. I'm actually not really too worried about the sides. I'm not too worried about the sides. And with a palette knife, I'm just going to spread that out. See how shiny it is. See how shiny it is. And then this really sets up, and it sets up really nicely too. It really does. It sets up beautifully. Okay guys, the cake is done. The ganache is on. The glaze is on. It looks and it smells absolutely awesome. Well, I've actually cut a piece, but this is our cake. And I've cut a piece and you can see, look in here, it is so moist. Yeah guys, I didn't even really decorate this up. It needs no decoration. It's absolutely awesome. So anyway, I've cut a piece, and so now I am going to try some. Here we go. See how the ganache is shiny? Let's see, look at that. That's really good. It's got like this marmalade thing going on. I bet you want some, don't you? I bet you do. This is really, really nice. It's really good. Guys, actually that's excellent. Ironically, even though it has the glaze, which is made from sugar and orange juice, and the chocolate, it really isn't sweet. You might think that the cake would be sweet, but it really isn't sweet. It's excellent. Bon appetit, guys. Bon appetit. Let's see. This is on point. You guys really need to try it. It's well worth the effort. And actually, keep it in the refrigerator. That's the other thing. You need to keep it refrigerated. I actually keep it in a cake, one of them cake things that you get, you know, you can cover it up. I keep it in the fridge like that. It will keep in the refrigerator for, well, I don't know how long that's going to last, but it will keep in the refrigerator for just under a week. For just under a week. But other than that, guys, I'll finish my cake.